Oh, let's see this.
We're all good.
We're all good. Okay, yay. Hi. Welcome, everybody, to our Monday night call. And I just want to thank everybody that was available and on the call this morning, because that was pretty cool. And it was our first one. I just want to reiterate that on the recording. So for those of you who haven't heard the news, we're starting this. It's kind of like an accountability call, if anything, to really help build momentum into your business and help it keep it going. And for those of you that are unable to get on the live call, we're inviting you to join us on the Voxer chat, which I still have to put together tonight. I just haven't had a chance to do it all day. But it's a great way to kind of keep track and pinpoint, especially socially, when you're able to do that in front of your peers. You know, it kind of keeps you accountable to the activity a lot more so than when you're telling yourself in your room, because I know for myself, right? I was always laughing. It's right. It's so easy to be like, I'm going to go tackle the world this week and do this and do that. And I've got all this. And then it's Friday and you're like, oh crap, I haven't touched anybody, you know, or whatever, right? It's just life gets the best of us. So this is, it's intended to be a fun and uplifting experience to really help motivate us as a team to move forward and build in some of the practices that are important to building an entrepreneurial business. So thank you for those of you who joined. And with that, tonight's a really fun kind of a call. We called it open mic, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity every once in a while to just kind of check in, see where we're at, you know, share some wins, you know, ask some questions. I know Stephanie's been really great about blowing up my Voxer with tons of questions and text messages and all sorts of stuff. And I love that when people start, because truly, it shows me how dedicated they are and how they really want to do a good job, you know? And so no question is ever too small or too big or too, you know, left-sided or whatever. And she's asked me some pretty tough stuff. You know, it's hard when a friend comes to you and says, oh my gosh, I read this Wikipedia article. Are you sure this is the right thing for you? And they send it to you and it sounds so amazingly well written and all that stuff. And then, you know, but good for her to reach out and know, you know, to grab some help, right, from some support. Because I did make a message that I will forward on to the group. You guys can listen to that. But we do have an official stance on that. This is something that is totally illegitimate. It's not rooted in anything truthful, and it's an opinion piece. It's not a factual piece. And so we do have a response, and we do have some great information to back up. So, so for those of you who weren't part of that discussion earlier, I will post that in our checks just so you can start and keep it if you need it for later reference. But it doesn't pop up all the time. It's just every once in a while we get a wackadoodle conversation that comes out of left field, and it usually, like, our newest reps are always like, oh, you know, and so we just want to jump in and support you guys. So, okay. So with that said, come at me. What have you got? Is there anything that you guys are thinking about? Are you curious about? Is there anybody that's kind of gone onto that new startup, the Freedom Revolution site, and seen anything or have questions about any of it so far? Just unmute yourself and jump in, because I'm on my cell phone. I can't see it if you're raising a hand.
I have a question.
Go for it. Hey, Jen.
Hi. This is actually something I've wondered since I started.
Cool.
So let's say you have a customer or a potential customer who doesn't eat any fruit and vegetables.
I got one of them.
And this is just a quick fix for them because they just hate them or whatever reason, doesn't matter. Is there anything else that they should be taking? Are there any nutrients in Juice Plus any nutrients that are not in Juice Plus that should be supplementing? Like, I noticed on the label it says that it doesn't say iron and it doesn't say vitamin K.
Okay.
As an example.
Okay, good question. First and foremost, every single
significant source of iron. So
okay. Right. So okay, so a couple things. There's a couple questions embedded in that question, so I'm going to try to take them apart, okay? The first and foremost, the way that we label things is not comparable to a supplement label or a vitamin label at all, right? So you're going to see a lot lower doses, if you would, or measurements of a certain particular type of nutrient. And that is because in naturally occurring sources, you don't need as much to generate the same effect in your body. The synthetic ones, they have to pump it up to make sure that at least a little bit gets into your system, right? Because most of it isn't even bioavailable. So that's one piece to the question. The other piece is I would never recommend anybody take anything without their doctor just checking their blood work. You know, they really need to get a baseline. So if they're concerned about that, I would say, well, jump on Juice Plus, you know, make sure you take it and take it consistently. It's definitely going to impact things. But if you're not eating any other source of anything, then you may want to get checked, of course, you know, and see what you're deficient in. The two things that fall outside of the spectrum of nutrients for Juice Plus is D3 and B12. D3 comes from the sun. B12 comes from animal proteins. Okay. And you can get it through, like, you know, by eating like 500 mushrooms or, you know, that kind of thing. But, right. So there are ways that you can get it, but just not in large enough quantities typically to make an impact. But I wouldn't go and tell anybody to supplement with anything unless they've been tested, right? Especially iron, because iron is one of those tricky ones that you can overdose on iron. So that's not a safe one to just say, oh, make sure you take extra iron. Usually what happens with Juice Plus is that you eat the Juice Plus capsules and you're eating your normal diet, and it allows you to absorb your other nutrients better into your system. Mm-hmm. So you may not end up needing to supplement with anything. And I've seen that a lot of times with people. Does that answer that, Jen?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understood the first part of it, though.
Okay. The first part was you mentioned vitamin K and iron and why they weren't listed, right?
Yeah.
So my response to that was that you're looking at a nutrition label, not a supplement label. So they're going to look different. All that stuff's going to look different and feel different. And in naturally occurring sources, you can have, like, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you have 5 milligrams of vitamin A coming from an apple, and I'm just making up numbers, okay? That could be as equivalent as 35,000, you know, milligrams or whatever in a vitamin tablet. It's so much less, so much incredibly less, but because it's in the naturally occurring apple, it's absorbed into the body in such a way that the synergistic effect of everything else that's there too is equivalent to swallowing a synthetic in that dosage or amount. That's just, and I'm taking random numbers, but just to draw a perspective of that. And there's more of that on Wendy Campbell's website. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in there. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question related to that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Would you go as far as, because this actually was one of a similar question that I had. Would you go as far to say, you know, you might want to get check your blood with the MD, especially your vitamin D, your B12, or you don't even say that? Is that just too much? That's just
no. I don't want to complicate things. We've got to simplify things for people. You guys will never build businesses if we get into all the weeds with everybody. Okay. It's got to be simple, simple, simple. Simple is, listen, this is eating the rainbow. I don't know about you, but I'm not eating Osceola cherries every single day. Right? I eat them on occasion. They're really apparently really nutritious and super important for cancer fighting properties. So I feel really sound in taking Juice Plus on a daily basis because it gives me all the extras that I'm not getting from the supermarket. Right? So the more you eat, the more consistent you are, the better the results. Doesn't discriminate. If you swallow it, it works. We know that from your blood work, you know. And if they choose to take blood work, some people will say to me, oh, good, you know what, I just had my blood drawn last week. This will be a great measurement. I say, great. Just make sure you're checking for the right things, because if you're not looking for certain things, like it won't come up with vitamin D. That's not going to make a difference there. You know, it won't check into B12 or whatever. But if you're looking for antioxidant levels in your blood serum, you'll see that. You know, if you look for measurements of and this is just all drawing from the research, you guys, you know, but if homocysteine, it's like a very weird way to say it. Yeah. That's a measurement for all disease. So the higher that number is, the worse you are, you know what I mean? But we know that comes down. So cholesterol, like those kinds of things that we can now speak to in terms of research output, those are the ones you want to key them into, maybe, you know, but I wouldn't, again, overcomplicate things, because what happens if that one person's going in and their blood work doesn't change because they're not looking for those things? I mean, Danielle and I just had a conversation about this, you know, and it's like, then they feel like we failed or it didn't work for them, right? So we really have to paint a picture for people that it just makes common sense. The more fruits and vegetables we eat, the better our bodies behave. And this is a simple and easy, affordable way to get it in. And you know what? You're going to feel a hell of a lot better too, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you help them see all the little nuances, because this is where most reps fall short. In those, the customer care questionnaires that we've got are so great, because it helps pinpoint some of these like subtleties. You know, I didn't realize my migraines had gone away. I had no concept of that because I wasn't looking for it. And it was
Right.
my pharmacist that drew my attention to it. You see what I mean? So like,
Yeah, that you
it's
hadn't
all in
reordered
all.
your meds, right?
Exactly. So
Right.
it's like in all those little things that you can kind of, when you ask that questionnaire, and I just give them a, $5 Starbucks gift card for their time. Thank you so much for, helping me be a better rep, or whatever. And they appreciate it. And it helps them. Yeah.
Phyllis, because not everybody was on the call today, and this actually came up in terms of the customer care and using those questionnaires, and you gave some good language around, even for those that have been in the business for a while and you want to use those maybe you haven't used those customer care forms before and you want to, it's always an okay time to jump in and revisit your customer care and utilizing those forms. And you gave some great, really simple language that maybe you probably don't remember verbatim, but
I'm like, what did I say? Who had the recorder? No.
really simple way.
I think it was to the effect of, hey, listen, I know that, you've been a really loyal customer for a long time now, and I am so appreciative that, if you would do me the favor and just spend 5 minutes on the phone, I'd love to go through this questionnaire with you and really just hone in a little bit and allow me to do some good customer care for you and, in efforts to say thank you and just kind of measure a journey or something to that effect, but just getting to a point. I mean, most of them will, meet me for a cup of coffee. Do you mind if we go through this together? Like, this is just an important piece. And I have to do this with a lot of my friends because frankly, I have so many friends that tell me, I just trust you. It's all good. And I'm like, no, it's not good enough, because I don't want them to just trust me, because then it's like they forget that why they're taking it. They start feeling good. They're like, oh, I forgot I was feeling good. I didn't realize it was the Juice Plus that made me feel that way. They quit. And then like year later, then they come back and they're all embarrassed. And it's weird. It shouldn't be that way. So the more that we are really in front of them and talking about these things, it makes you look more professional, for one, and it really creates a much stickier customer base. And the tools are all there, so we don't have to recreate any of this. We can just pull from it and use what you like and keep on going.
Just add, kind of piggyback onto that a little bit too, for those that have been, in the business a little bit longer as well. And so maybe some time has lagged since you've been in touch with your customers. Maybe you only check in with them like before their order ships out, and that happens. Like, there's nothing to feel bad about. I've been in that situation before too with certain customers, and I've used the line like, I just, please forgive me because I have not really done the best that I could in giving you proper customer care, and I feel terrible, and I'd love the opportunity to really, going forward, really help you have a much better experience. And I've kind of just asked for their forgiveness and been totally upfront and honest. Like, I should have been kind of holding your hand a little bit more, and I haven't. So forgive me. It's totally my fault. And would you be open to saying that, taking a few minutes to go through this questionnaire or allowing me to do much better customer care with you?
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, I've been there.
Totally. And we get busy, and sometimes it's like 6 months goes by or 8 months goes by, or you have that one. I have a lot of us are in the lead pool. We get leads. So you get these leads, and these people don't even want to talk to you half the time, and it's hard because they pay every month and they show up every month and they ship out every 4 months. And you're like, okay, would you just answer me, please? Because I just want to do a good job for you. Right. And so sometimes it's a handwritten note. Sometimes it's a shaker bottle in the mail. Sometimes it's, a couple different things, but I do. Yeah. And I think the other thing we mentioned earlier today was, really just asking them, tell me, at this point in time, like, what are some topics of interest for you? As it relates to health, because knowing where they're at in their mind is important to see how you can support them better. Right. So if someone's really like, oh, I'm really curious about this keto thing, right? Like, be like, you know what? We have a really cool webinar that came out like with Mitra Ray, and she was talking about keto versus, that Shred 10 program that we do. I don't know if you're open to it, but that would be a great thing. Maybe I could send you and help you evaluate your decisions and see, learn a little bit more about it, things like that. So that way you're servicing them more, and just kind of, and it's hard once you get a big customer base. It's hard to remember like whose son had autism, whose so-and-so had this, and this way you can really, if you're in communication, work through them and just support them through a little article here or there or that kind of thing. You don't want to be an expert on anything, but you want to say things like, hey, you know what? I remembered our conversation from last month and I came across this article and thought of you. Right. And then you send it with a little note. Or I know you were trying to eat a certain way, right? And I found this recipe that I thought you might enjoy, and you print it off and you send it in the mail and say, thanks, So just little ideas like that.
Write down those things that they tell you. So
yeah,
like, don't assume that you're going to remember that
Uh-uh.
customer Sally for
I
daughter.
always think I will. I know. Yeah.
'Cause the longer you do this too, you're gonna forget.
Well, and then you start having conversations with so many different people, right? Because you're doing three-way calls with your whole team, which is awesome. We want to be doing that. But then you jumble up the details and you're like, oh, shoot, who was that one that I was talking to about this, right? And yeah, I 100% agree.
Questionnaires are great to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the back of the order form is an easy place too to jot down notes, like a running record for the teachers out there. Okay. Good questions. Anybody else?
Yes, I have one.
Go for it, Lisa.
I was actually trying to go over this with Chris-Ann as well, and I hope she doesn't mind that I'm bringing it up again. I was sharing my story with a friend of mine from church yesterday, and he's really interested in the product. He's on a budget and is getting ready to retire.
Mm-hmm.
One of his things was he's on high blood pressure medicine and wanted to make sure that there's no garlic in any of the products because he can't take anything with garlic because that interacts with the blood pressure medicine.
Do you know what blood pressure medicine it is?
No, he didn't tell me.
Okay.
I think, Lisa, wasn't it grapefruit too?
Yes, grapefruit. Thank you. Garlic.
Wait, was it garlic also or just grapefruit?
Maybe
I
you're
remember
right.
you mentioning garlic to me.
Grapefruit.
Oh, it was
Right.
grapefruit. Okay.
Thank you.
It's usually
Chris-Ann.
grapefruit.
That's why I'm glad I brought it up again.
I'm like, there is garlic, there is no grapefruit. So we're actually in the clear. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother had the same issue. He decided to talk to his doctor. His doctor said it's totally fine to take juice plus.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that point clarified. The
You
other
should be
one,
fine. Mm-hmm.
yes. The
Melissa
other one
brought up-
was he wants to buy the products. He feels it's a little expensive for him right now because he is on a very tight budget and he is about to retire. So I was rolling it around with Chris-Ann to say maybe if he started, even if he's not building the business right away, if he bought as a distributor, he could get it at the discount, and then as he saw the benefits, could we go that way? Or is that
You certainly can. There's no problem in doing that. We call them family plan users typically when they just buy for a discount. A lot of people sign up their business to get a discount. It's like getting a Costco membership, and that's how I relate it to them. But I would really encourage you to go down a path of a little bit more education and discovery, because if somebody says that it's too expensive, they really don't get a good grasp of what it is. They just haven't gotten there yet. When people understand the value of what this is, they say things like this. And this happens to me all the time. Oh my gosh, how is it so inexpensive? How is this so cheap? Are you kidding me? That's incredible. Like, blueberries are like $5 a thing. Like, how did they get all that in there for that little? You see what I'm saying? Like, because there's so much more education that comes along with it. So, and it sometimes it's just different people and different exposures. They need multiple exposures, before they can really grasp that kind of thing. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong, but that's where a three-way call comes in, really supportive. And you can say things like, hey, listen, if you see value in this, and, we always want to find a way to help people get on it. Would you be open to a call? We can talk through some creative ways to do that. Right. And that would be a way, because I always like to ask people the question when they say that, you know what? It brings up a good point. Like, how much do you think it should be worth? 30 pieces of super cleaner than organic produce from like a Whole Foods type of quality. Like, how much do you think that should cost every day?
okay?
I'm not combative, but I'm curious, right? And I have never, and usually, the number, we've actually priced it out, and it's about $40 a day to buy all that stuff in a serving.
Okay.
Any day. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome, when it comes down to it. But if they're just hearing the price, then they just haven't gotten enough of that other stuff before it. So you should just know every time. Yeah, go ahead.
Question piggybacking off that. And I like the way you said, like, how much should that cost? But it's not 30 servings. So how do you, because if someone says, well, you're not giving me a serving of blueberries, a serving of, so how do you combat that then?
Well, kind of is. It's almost, it's almost a serving each.
Okay. If that's fair to say, I don't want to say something like inaccurate.
Yeah. Well, it's roughly, because, you have to be on average, because if a person is like my fans are small. So my serving size is pretty small. But if I'm looking at a 300-pound guy and his hands are twice the size of mine, like, that's serving. Of course, it's not going to be the identical for the two. Do you see what I'm saying? But
Yes.
it's on average. I mean, it's still roughly a serving each. I mean, it's hard to quantify, so we don't want to get into specifics too much.
Right.
But even if you were just to buy all the stuff and carve it up for the week, guys, you know, I mean, it's like in the store. So we just try to get people, like, I have truly never found a more inexpensive way to get this much organic, like cleaner than organic produce. That's the way I say it. By the time it's in the capsule, it's cleaner than organic produce, you know, into my stomach every day. And kids eat free, you know, it's pretty amazing.
Right.
Which I know we're after conference, I'm trying to change that language, but it still rolls off my tongue too quick. Does that help?
Yes, a lot. Thank you.
Okay. And these questions, so I want to encourage you guys to go back to that freedomrevolution.com where it says like
Yes.
frequently asked questions, because all this is in there. You know, there's lots of, yeah. Lots of good resources there. And Jen, I want to go back to that original question of the, were you looking for a specific measurement of vitamin K? Is that why you asked that? No, you're just, okay. Because Dr. Phillips talked about it in his talk when he was here. I'd have to dig through my notes to find it, but he said that as an emergency room doctor, he would say that it can't harm anybody, you know? So, okay. Because I know that there's like a medicine question attached to that one typically. Okay. What else? What have we got?
Why'd you say you have to change your language about kids eat free?
They just, at conference, they talked a lot about, and I do want to let you guys know that Kurt Beaver's put together, they usually have a recap call. They actually are putting together a video with all of the speakers from conference and this is the first time they've ever done it. And they're going through and they're recapping like the short version of their talks and high points and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be really, really awesome. We were all like, thank you, Kurt, you're amazing, you know, like all day. So there will be some of this coming down, but the company basically what they're really encouraging us to do is talk more about and they changed it from the children's health study to the family health study. They said, you know, and Meredith did an excellent job talking about this. So she just said, you know what, the problem is we get these people, but the attrition rate is really bad right now. They're coming on and then they quit because they hear free, which cheapens the experience in their thinking, you know, and then so they don't stay on for the long haul. Whereas if you come to them with a family experience and say, like, we have this really neat family experience where everybody can get on Juice Plus for a really affordable rate. Can I tell you a little bit about it? You know, and you talk about it from a little different angle. So look in your highlights. There's a video that comes out on Wednesdays, like, you know, sift through some of that stuff and hopefully this video will address it too. I don't want to misspeak around it, but I do think that she's right in that we really do need to, and I forget if this is just in the NMB meeting. I think they did it from main stage. We do really need to kind of shift our language a little bit because we'll attract different people and they'll be in here longer, you know, rather than just coming in for 6 months and then stopping, you know. She related it to, like, you know, those restaurants that are like, kids eat free on Thursdays. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's easy to talk about, right? But it doesn't keep them for the long haul. And what we want to do is sign people up for an experience, which is a longer term investment and, you know, interaction. Am I missing anything, Danielle, on that?
You know, just it's
Or
called
anybody else?
healthy starts for families. Healthy starts for families.
Oh, the healthy start. Yes.
Healthy starts for families is what it's called. Empower families to make meaningful lifestyle changes one day at a time.
There we go.
It really is.
And the marketing materials are beautiful. They did a beautiful job. Yeah.
Hey, Melissa.
Yeah.
I have a question to piggyback on what we were just talking about on verbiage.
Okay.
What direction or what level are we should keep professionally on speaking to, like if someone talks about how expensive it is, you know, is it okay to say, well, how much do you spend on vitamins? And kind of go, I mean, it's hard because I don't want to, I don't feel that I have any qualification to say, oh, you don't need any vitamins, just take this. I don't want to say it like that, but I mean,
like, where do you go from there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, my mom's pretty much replaced a lot of her vitamins and doesn't even buy them anymore. So that's how we're affording it. And she's feeling better than when she was taking her vitamins without the Juice Plus. So I was never good about taking vitamins to begin with. I was always rebellious on that because I didn't ever feel good taking them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, my mom yelled at me my whole life, told you to take your vitamins. But I'm like, well, they don't do anything for me. So to make me nauseous.
And what's prohibiting you from sharing just that story, that beautiful story that you just said with that smile on your face? I mean, you laughed and you were open and you were relaxed when you said it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people relate to.
I guess I just don't know how to go into it when someone gives you that. I mean, like I was having a conversation with Danielle not long ago. It's like, it seems like everybody I talk to, the first thing they say is, how much is it? The first thing, or they know how much it is. The first thing they say is, oh my God, I can't afford that.
Okay, so I would challenge you then when they say that to ask them the question, okay, this is my favorite part. How much do you think it should cost? Take a look. These are all the ingredients. You get that every single day in your body. Like, picture Whole Foods. How much do you think it should cost? Let them give you a number before you say anything. I guarantee it's going to be higher than what you tell them. And when you come back to them and say, that's the best part, $2.30 a day. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable. You see how different that is?
So would you not even go that about?
Yeah, that's exactly how I would respond. And then I would say, you know what? And honestly, here's what I've experienced, right? I used to hate taking vitamins. I would just lie and said I took them and throw them away because they made me nauseous. I didn't feel like they were doing anything. You know, here's all this money going in the toilet. It just makes no sense. There's over 10,000 published articles saying how they don't work. You know, it just makes a lot more sense for me to eat the food, right? So vitamins were created. This is my favorite line. Vitamins were created to replace the foods we weren't eating. This is the food we're not eating. This is so many, it's like 1,000 steps better, you know, than that. 1,000% better. So I mean, when you talk about it with that much enthusiasm, like my favorite thing is when they ask me how much it is. Oh my gosh, you're not even gonna believe this. You know, I mean, seriously, Jen's laughing at me, but you know, like I'm serious. It is the best part, you guys. It hasn't, the price has only gone up one time in 25 years. And it was by like 19 cents a month. I don't know how they do it. I frankly don't know how they do it. But we sell $12 billion worth of product. You know, obviously we have contracted with excellent growers. We have our, you know, ish together. We know what we're doing, you know, and it's been able to make it accessible and affordable to everybody. And the fact that we feed 1 million kids with the, you know, the Children's Health Study, like, get you excited?
That's amazing.
But you see how you can turn that around, Greta? That just comes with confidence, you know? And it's going to come over time, but...
I go.
Well, no, but that should stick in your head. That should have been emotional enough of a moment to stick in your head to be like, the next time it comes, you're going to laugh. You're going to smile this big smile and go, that's my favorite question, you know? And then you're going to say, honest to God, like, here's the ingredients. You look at them. How much do you think it should cost? You tell me.
Yeah.
And let them think about it. It's food. It's not a vitamin C, you know, tablet in the GNC aisle. Right?
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then you're going to Vox me and go, oh my gosh, I just totally cracked up on this person and they think I'm crazy, but it's so great. And they signed up and it's awesome. Right? It's your energy, guys. It's all the energy with which you deliver the message, you know? And then you go, what do you have to lose? I mean, what do you spend $2 on a day that's serving you not well? You know, let's just replace that. That's one bottle of water, people, you know? And I used to buy a bottle of water every single day somewhere because I was always running out. Like I was always on the run somewhere, you know, or it goes from a large Starbucks to a medium. That's how I started, right? Where can we make adjustments? If it's really that much of an issue financially, where can we make an adjustment to serve you better?
I was just going to say, if they stop getting Starbucks every day, they can afford 2 servings of Juice Plus.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. And our president says that. He says every time he comes into Starbucks anywhere around the world, he travels all over the world. He says he's never the first in line. He's never the last. So as long as people can afford that cup of coffee, they can afford our product, you know? Yeah. It's just perspective. You just got to laugh at them a little bit, get them, poke around a little bit and make them, you know, can't make them laugh. You can't make them buy, right?
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
Very true.
All right. What else we got? We're almost over the time here. Is this helpful?
Yes, very. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I know there's a couple extra. I see some numbers on here. Some California numbers. Oops, somebody just came off mute. 949 8702254. Who's that? Everyone's being shy. All right. Any other questions, you guys? I don't want to keep you if there's nothing else. Okay. We're all experts. It's fantastic. We should go out and sell $1 million tomorrow. It'll be great. Let's go on a vacation. No, I love you guys. You're doing awesome. Just keep it up. You know, we have this is going to be a really big month. There should be a lot of Tower Garden talk. Tower Gardens are a really great gift for Mother's Day. So anybody you've had any kind of conversation with along the way, you just want to call them and go, you know what, this is a really great Mother's Day gift. Have you thought about that? You know, is this something that you want some more information on? You can show your husband or whoever, right? I'd love to have you come over and taste and try mine, and, you know, or my friends or whatever. Just, I would be really encouraging of that kind of conversation given the time of year. And then the shred, obviously, we just have so much to offer people right now. I feel like I'm just bursting. Like I can't get like, like squeezing every minute out of the day, you know, trying to get on the phone. But, and then what happens is with that excitement, people start referring people to you. I had 2 referrals this week. I didn't even try for them, you know, so it's pretty fun when that starts to happen. So
It's awesome.
yeah. All right. Well, I love you guys. Have a great evening, and thanks for hopping on.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.